We're determined to avoid a hard Brexit. So have they made any real difference? Well, I'm now joined from London by Ronan, McCrea, Professor of Constitutional and European Law at University College London. Ronan, thanks so much for joining us. Listen, watching them across the water, all the kerfuffle, etc., the government humiliation, the various amendments, I mean, is that going to make a big difference to both a hard Brexit and next week's vote?
Not really. I mean, the sad thing is that there's so much delusion and dishonesty at Westminster, delusion about their ability to unilaterally shape this process, and then dishonesty all around. These amendments are not going to stop Brexit, a no-deal Brexit. The House of Commons can't unilaterally do that. The only way that a no-deal Brexit can be stopped is if they accept the withdrawal agreement or they cancel Brexit. And all these amendments and going back and forth and other amendments trying to say, it's claiming that the House of Commons is taking a no-deal outcome off the table, it's just delusional. That can't happen. They have to accept the deal, or they have to cancel Brexit, or automatically there's going to be a no-deal Brexit. So it's a lot of this is much ado about nothing, all this fuss, when actually they have a fundamental choice to make that after 2.5 years they're still not making.
But Ronan, in terms of, say, Dominic Grieve's amendment, I mean, does that make a hard Brexit less likely?
Well, it makes it less likely and more likely. So these amendments are an attempt to pressure Theresa May into agreeing to some kind of a referendum to cancel Brexit. But it's doing that by refusing to ratify the withdrawal agreement and hoping that Britain will be so afraid of no deal outcome that they will then cancel Brexit or have a referendum. But the problem with that is that no deal happens automatically, and unless there's an affirmative majority in the House of Commons for something else, then they're going to crash out. So it's a really high stakes game. They're trying to make it as difficult as possible, but by opposing the withdrawal agreement, they're really they're opposing the only thing that can guarantee that a no-deal Brexit won't occur.
When the vote next Tuesday, I know it's very hard to look ahead and see what it might be, but do you think she might lose it by even a bigger margin than people are expecting her to lose it by?
Well, I read the Independent newspaper here's columnist John Rentoul has counted that said the MPs, the supporters, edging up slowly, but around 220, 225, so nearly 100 short. So she'd lose probably by quite a lot. And the problem is that the House of Commons is split several ways on Brexit. Hardcore Brexiters, hardcore Remainers, in favour of the deal, all these people. And the problem is any one option triggers the combined opposition of all the other options. So they end up with no option, no majority for anything, which then results automatically in a no-deal outcome.
So what then, of course, we assume if she loses on Tuesday, what about this other amendment, the idea that she's to come back within 3 sitting days with her plan B? I mean, surely that's not going to be feasible for her.
I mean, I don't know what they expect her to do in 3 days, to make the European Union open the agreement. It's been 100% clear that it won't reopen. That's not going to happen. Come back with something that is compatible with the Labour Party's utterly delusional and dishonest proposals. That won't help either. I don't know what they expect that would change. She's going to come back in 3 days in the same situation, which is the deal is not opening for renegotiation. They have to accept that deal, or they have to cancel Brexit, otherwise they crash out. All this kicking the can down the road is not helping anyone. Those amendments, I don't think they're going to change the fundamental realities, which is that the deal is the only form of Brexit available, and that there probably isn't a majority to reverse Brexit in the House of Commons at this stage, particularly because Jeremy Corbyn is blocking that. He won't, at the moment, he won't support a second referendum.
Final question to you, Ronan. I mean, could Europe do more? In other words, is it possible post-Tuesday, you're both legal and European expert, right, in law, could they come up with assurances, Ronan, with some kind of a legal grounding that would assuage the fears of the DUP and reassure them enough?
Not really, because Europe has gone further than most experts thought it would. It's allowed the whole of the UK to be in the customs union without guaranteeing that they'd be in the rest of the single market. That's already almost a bridge too far for many member states. And in terms of the backstop, well, if they make the backstop not potentially permanent and not potentially binding, then it's not a backstop. So there isn't much they can do. They'll probably write some kind of letter saying we very much hope that this won't be used, reiterating what they've said already, and maybe Theresa May will try and dress that up as a concession. But there isn't really anything else the EU can do. Britain just has to choose, and nothing can save them from that choice.
OK, listen, Professor McCrea, thanks so much for joining us once again tonight. David?
Well, Christmas is over, but how am I over the limits?